Hey YouTube, welcome back. So, if you've been keeping up with this audiobook series for my novel Dream Catalyst, you would know that today is the last chapter and the epilogue. So, yeah, I just want to say a quick thank you for sticking around this long. Clearly made it to the last chapter, so I'm glad that you liked the story and enough to stick with it to the end, and I'm really grateful that you took the time out to listen to my story, and I was happy to provide this audiobook available for you guys so that you can listen to it at home for free, and hopefully if you liked the novel, you will consider purchasing it on Amazon. I've attached the link below in the description, just like all the other videos. I've also attached my Instagram, LinkedIn. If you add me on those, you can see if I have future publications coming out. And if you liked my work, you can add me on those and see what else I kind of have cooking up. If you subscribe to this channel as well, if I have any other publications coming out, I'll probably do audiobooks for those as well. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for sticking to the end. If you did want to purchase the book, the description's below. If you just want to support me on this social media on YouTube, you can subscribe, turn notifications on. If you just in general want to support me and we can support each other, you can add me on LinkedIn and we can connect. We can follow each other on social media as well. And yeah, if you want to write in the comments what you thought of the book and the ending, and that's also helpful to me too. Feedback's important as well, so that I can keep improving with every novel I publish. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So we left off, last chapter was chapter 13, and that was Paper Plane, and that was Wanderlust's kind of chapter. So now we are down to Stargazing. So in this video, I'm going to be doing the last chapter, and then after that, there's an optional epilogue. So I'll make sure to tell you, I'll make sure to stop reading before the epilogue and tell you when you can click off if you don't want to listen to it. If you do, then just keep playing the video, obviously. I made it optional. I'll explain later, actually. So, Stargazing. In your copy, it's going to be on page 262. So let's go to that now. 262, the very last chapter. So this is what it looks like. If you want to purchase the book, if you liked the book and want to refer to a friend, go on Amazon.com below. So yeah, let's just get into it. We'll stop rambling. Okay, chapter 14, Stargazing. Opening quote at the beginning. People frequently underestimate me, and I use that to my advantage. Signed, V. Perspective of the narrator, Angel. V has finally reached a point in her life where she can be her own dream catalyst. After evaluating all of the lessons she had learned from others, V is finally ready to look for inspiration inside herself rather than from others. V has grown, and this chapter is for her. V realizes that while all the other important characters of her life are relevant in their own respective chapters, this is her story. She's the protagonist. This is her legacy, and it's only just the beginning. At the venue, V and Wanderlust were greeted by the owner. She shook both of their hands and directed them to the stage. While the two were ecstatic to finally get the chance to perform, the itinerary for the evening was not exactly what they had originally expected. They have us performing as one set. They think we're part of the same band. How do we tell them we're both performing as solo artists? We don't, said Wanderlust. I'll accompany you on guitar and sing backup. But no, this isn't what it was supposed to happen, I protested. We were supposed to perform separately, so we could each perform our own songs. And look, she allotted 20 minutes. That's not a full set. We'll only have time for 3, maybe 4 songs. This must be some kind of mistake. No, V. Wanderlust grabbed my arm. V, it's not a mistake. I'm not performing to represent Cypher tonight, and I don't perform solo at these events. I signed us up together. There are going to be agents here tonight, V. No offense, you're good at the ukulele and all, but you need proper accompaniment if you want to get their attention. Focus on your vocals. I already learned the songs from your set. You learned my songs? How did you have the time to do that? And how do you know which songs I would be performing? B. I asked the host to give me the list of your top 10 songs preferences. Remember that sheet you had to fill out specifying which songs you planned on performing? I knew she would only allot you 20 minutes because that's just the way this host runs things. I memorized the first 5 songs, and then I got the sheet music for the others just in case. You only need 20 minutes to impress them, V. You're really good. But what about you? I don't understand. Don't you want to get your shot in front of the LA agents too? Well, I actually have some news. What is it, Wonderlust? Well, I've been thinking about it. I discovered something about myself. I think I know why I like music so much. Why is that? Well, it's not for the reasons most would think. I like music because it's the purest form of human expression. It helps a lot of people. Sure, people who are going through hard times, they can listen to my music, but it's more than that, though. I've always really connected to radical music. I like the idea of performing songs that inspire civil movements, inform the people, make others aware of important topics. Well, that's the thing, right? I started to realize that I liked studying music, analyzing art, not because I wanted to be an artist, but because I wanted to be a humanitarian. I want to help people. I've been applying to BA programs. I've been admitted to Stanford University for political science. I'm going to study to be a politician, B. That's what I want to do. I will still be a part of Zypher, and I still want to make music as a hobby, but I want to help people. Not just to make them feel better about life, but to improve their lives. I'm going back to school. Wonderlust, that is incredible. I'm so proud of you. You would make an amazing politician. I couldn't think of a better politician. You could do anything you set your mind to. So can you, V. And I want to be here for you while you launch your career. I want to witness it happen. Wonderlust, that is the sweetest thing anyone has ever said to me. Thank you. I'm so nervous. Don't be. You've been performing live shows every evening in various cities across the world. You have a good reputation for yourself. I wouldn't be surprised if these agencies have already heard of you. Thanks, Wonderlust. Okay. No time for nerves. This is showtime. Okay. Let's get this going, I said, pulling out a list I wrote for myself, mapping out the songs I wanted to perform. I have time for 4 songs on this list, right? I think we are going to perform these 3 first. I pointed to the list. And then possibly this one or this one. I pointed to 2 more on the list. It'll depend on the crowd and the mood, I guess. I'll announce each song before we start playing. Does that work for you? Yes, it does. Those are the ones I memorized the chords for. I had a feeling you would play those ones. But if you want to play the others, I have the sheets, so do whatever you feel. We started setting up for the event. People began to trickle in over the half hour before our set. We noticed a few well-established agents come in and sit front row. We took note of them. 2 of them, the woman and the non-binary person sitting beside her, were the agents of widely recognized vocalists. These agents didn't mess around. They found artists who would make hits. It was that simple. When the time came, the technicians dimmed the house lights and they focused a spotlight downstage onto the MCs of the night. She did introduce me to the room. I would like to welcome V to the stage, an up-and-coming vocalist who once sang songs by Ravine at midnight. V came a long way to perform for you here today. Let's give her a round of applause. I couldn't think of a more accurate and genuine introduction. I had come a long way. Hello, everyone, I said over the mic. Probably not the most creative way to start an introduction, but I was here to sing, not to be charismatic. I'm going to start tonight's set with a song about a cat, as ridiculous as it may seem. Most people sing about love or sometimes even politics. I turned back to wink at Wonderlust. But I sing about defying archetypes and categories. I sing about personality types and characteristics. I am interested in human nature. Leary was the name of my cat. She was not a human being, obviously, so I guess this song isn't about human nature per se, the audience chuckled. But in a strange way, it is. Something about her seemed very human. She had troubles trusting others, as many do. But this anxious rebellion against trusting humanity caused her a lot of grief. When I had to leave her with someone else, it hurt me. It broke me, actually, so I dedicated this song to people and cats like Leary. I hope they can someday learn to trust both others and, most importantly, themselves, just as she did. If one could record the energy circulating around a deathbed in a hospital, that prolonged silence, the anxiousness of the impending goodbye, the melancholy and nostalgia, the discomfort, that would be what Leary's song sounded like, a prolonged, sad tune. While I knew Leary was alive and well, leaving her, saying goodbye, it felt like she had died. It felt like this because I knew I would never see her again, despite her being alive and well. Wanderlust accompanied the song perfectly. I never thought a man full of wonder could play such sad chords. We moved a few audience members to tears. I allotted a moment of silence for the death of a friendship, to give the audience a chance to recollect themselves, before I introduced the next song. I dedicate this song to Wanderlust. He blushed. It was called My Muse. Describing music is difficult. You would have to meet Wanderlust yourself to know how it sounded. Let's start by saying it was wonderful and light-hearted. It was a difficult song to play, but we made it look easy because that's how Wanderlust lived his life. He makes hard work look effortless. The last song I played was dedicated to the Dream Catalysts. I wrote it for Yippee. It was called Stargazing. The lyrics were about collecting stardust out of tin cans and cashing them in for coffee, food, and a warm bed. If Leary could hear the song, they would have been proud. So now came the closing song of the night. Wanderlust got accepted into Stanford University for poli-sci. The audience applauded. He wants to be a politician, and I know he will be a great one. But that means he won't be performing for Zypher as frequently as he once did. So tonight, he will perform the last song of the set. Wanderlust was surprised by this. I hadn't told him this was my plan. Good, I thought. The art will be more genuine if he's surprised. He will be performing No Borders. The audience applauded him. I guess I'll be performing one of my original songs, he nodded to me in appreciation. This song was inspired by John Lennon. It is supposed to be radical and progressive. I hope you can appreciate the meaning. And so he played. When we finished our set and took our bows, we exited into the wings. We were informed by stage management that one of the technicians on headset overheard the agents really liked our set. We asked if we could sneak into the crowd and listen to the next performers, and they told us we could as long as we made our way back to the green room before intermission. So we listened to the remaining sets of the first half. When intermission was about to start, Wanderlust and I made our way back to the green room to wait there in hopes that an agent would approach. This was protocol for this venue. Sure enough, the agent that we recognized, the one who only accepted those willing to make hints, entered the room. Wanderlust, you two are incredible. I felt the pain, I felt the loss, I felt the hope, but most importantly, I felt the spirit. I want to represent you two. I think that goes without saying. It would be crazy not to. But I just wanted to say, I have not, for a long time, been truly touched by music. That song about stargazing, I felt that. When I was your age, I was a traveler too. It took me a while to settle. Now I'm here. I'm honored to be considered for representation, I shook her hand. Let's book a meeting to discuss the details, Miss Altruist. Oh, actually, I beg your pardon. I've heard of you before. I mean, it's you. You're Miss Altruist. You don't really need an introduction, obviously. Sorry, I'm rambling. Is it okay if I call you Miss Altruist, or is that too formal? Oh, yes, it's quite all right. I don't go by my name anymore. I grew out of it. Oh, I see. I don't go by my first name anymore. I grew out of it. Oh, I see. I smiled, hesitant. If I should ask her what that name was. Fortunately, Wanderlust took that opportunity. And what is your first name? He asked. Nomad. Nomad Altruist. She winked at me. Oh, so that was why she related to my music. Miss Altruist and I exchanged contact information. We'll be in touch, V, she said. And she left, and I knew my career was made. Perspective from the narrator, Angel. Needless to say, the two celebrated, as youth often do, but this did not need to be documented. Youth should be given the opportunity to celebrate freely without an audience trying to draw meaning out of every conversation. Strips them of their right to be free-willed. We will cut to a conversation the two had before V and Wanderlust made their impact on the world, cut in time back to V's perspective. Stay in San Francisco with me, asked Wanderlust. Him and I were watching a rom-com on Netflix. I can't, Wanderlust. I need to go exploring. I'm not done just yet. I need to live alone, get my own place, figure things out. Okay, that's fair, I understand, he admitted. But I'll miss you when you go. I'll miss you too, Wanderlust, but we'll appreciate each other more when I get back. LA is very close to here. I have a feeling I'm going to be in the area quite a bit, and if not, I'll fly out. We'll make things work. But where will you go? Asked Wanderlust. I'll go to New York, I said, dreamy-eyed. I'll go to New York. Miss Altruist wants me close to the studio. She's having her agents rent out an apartment for me. I'm going to have an apartment in New York City, Wanderlust, and I'm going to buy a kitten and a puppy to live with me in it. Wanderlust laughed. V, that's incredible, but why are you getting a dog and a cat? Aren't dogs and cats not supposed to get along? Well, I'll need them to keep each other company while I'm at work. I thought this through. Dogs and cats only fight because they're helping each other grow. Growth isn't a bad thing. If I get them young, they'll grow accustomed to one another's differences and embrace them. You see, Aimless would have done much better for himself if he had someone like Leary to precaution him. And Leary, my angel, she would have learned to trust someone if someone just showed her how to be a little directionless every once in a while. Maybe she just needed someone to put a blindfold over her eyes and show her a mountaintop, he laughed. Probably, I admitted. In fact, I think most people need that. They just don't realize it. So, you're going to New York City. Then what? When do you start making music? Okay, so I technically could have started whenever, but I actually asked for a couple months to tie up some loose ends. There are a couple things I need to take care of. And what's that? Asked Wonderlust. Just touching up on a few loose ties. Don't worry, it's nothing major. I actually kind of want to get some air. I'm going to go out for a jog at the park. I'll be back. Oh, okay, V. Have a good job. Oh, and before I go, I kissed Wonderlust before I left. Thanks for being a dream catalyst, and for showing me the mountaintops. Of course, V. There's more to see out there. I'm only getting started. I'm going to show you the world. Perspective of Angel, narrator. Oh, sorry, no, still V, but jumped in time. I laced my red sneakers and ran to the park. I had a feeling this would be the last time I roamed this park unrecognized. Nothing was guaranteed, but I could just sense it. My gut told me I was going to succeed. Just as I looped the bench that Wonderlust and I sat on the day of our mountain date, I saw a familiar face waiting for me in a pine tree. By a pine tree. I ran up to her. Where were you during the cyclone? Was the first thing I demanded of her. Angel turned to look at me, and I knew I must have crossed a line in demanding that information. Still, I persisted. I'm sorry, I lost track of where I was. Okay. You told me you would always be there for me in times of crisis. I never said that, Bee, said Angel softly. I said I would be there for you whenever you needed me. You didn't need me. Yes, I did. Art and Leary broke my heart, and then Yippee died. I couldn't deal with that violent cyclone. But you did, and now you're stronger because of it. You've still got some explaining to do, Angel, I mustered up the courage to say. She smiled. Okay, V. I'll answer whatever questions you'd like. But I won't be here for long, so pick the important ones. You see, this is the last time you'll be seeing me. What do you mean? I was in shock. Angel wasn't going to come back anymore? What if there was another catastrophe, another tornado, or cyclone? She smiled. V, you were strong enough to make it out of those situations alone. You don't need me anymore. You know how to handle the storm now. You know how to find the light. Who are you, Angel? I asked in a frenzy. What are you? You came into my life with these familiar eyes, but what does it all mean? Do you want to know the truth or the lie that will keep the story going? Angel asked. The truth, I requested. I'm the narrator to your story of your life. I don't like watching you go through turmoil alone, so I wrote myself in, as a character in your story. I beg your pardon? Perspective of Angel, the narrator. Dear reader, forgive me. I couldn't help poke a little fun and break a fourth wall, but let's revisit. Back to V. Perspective. It was a metaphor, V. Think about it, Angel winked. Who are you? Demanded V. V, I am you. I am you. I am a spirit you manifested, your inner dialogue. That is why you recognize my eyes. You never needed me. Not the first time around, nor the second. You always had the power in your own hands. You were always your own dream catalyst. You just got sidetracked with learning life lessons because you didn't trust that you had the answers within you all along. Angel, what now? I'm ready. I'm so ready. Though I feel like I have loose ends to tie, and I'm not sure what they are. Look deep inside you. You'll figure it out, V. V, I'll give you insight into one person from your past as a parting gift. I did grow quite attached to you, and to your life. It will be a great tragedy for me to disappear into an abyss alone. What happened of Art after he left? I asked. You heard him, V, and he missed you. He did. But he is starting to move on. He is still an artist. He got admitted to OCAD. He studies animation and traditional visual arts. There now. His heart is still numb. But he'll fall in love with his soulmate, and they'll treat him like gold. He had a rocky start, but his future is bright. He will be a very successful artist, both in prospect and in happiness. prospects, and in happiness. Can I know of the others? What about the artistic art cove, Angel? What about Leary? Did Caprice have her baby girl? What about Sunny? Was her album a hit after all? I didn't so much as look away for a second. In fact, I didn't so much as blink, but Angel disappeared. She was gone, and I was on my own, just like everyone else, I suppose. I guess I'm on my own now, I thought to myself. I guess I only ever was. Back to narrator's perspective, Angel. Lee did as she said she would, and she got a kitten and puppy for her New York City apartment. Bee still had to tie up loose ends before she launched into her career. She decided to take a few months to work on her music and a very special personal project. But to launch into the future, Bee had to look back into the past one last time. She mailed Yippie's lover, the cashier at the dress shop, their completed sketchbook. V felt the cashier deserved to see it most, and she thinks that is what Yippie would have wanted. The sketchbook made the cashier cry. She ended up putting it on the bedside table beside the copy of Wuthering Heights she saw in the change room one night as she was closing up shop. It had stardust inside the cover. The cashier knew who it was from. It was something she needed to do, something she was proud of. There was just one more place she needed to visit before she could truly move forward in her life. That involved confronting her past head-on, so that she could see how far she has come. Back to V's perspective. I walked to the dead-end neighborhood with the yellow house in the cul-de-sac. I walked to the door and knocked on it. Out stepped my mother. She looked surprised to see me standing there. V, you're back. I promised I would be, I said. But I'm not staying. I wanted to come back to the city one last time. I'm about to become a success, Mom. As I've told you over the phone, I got signed on with that agent. She says she thinks she can launch my career. But anyways, I have something for you. I handed my mom a 5.5-inch times 8.5-inch package. She examined it and looked back at me. What is this? She asked. Open it, I urged, and so she did. Dream Catalyst. What is that? It's a book I've written about my journey, I told her. I know I've left you in the dark concerning my life, and I know it hurt you when I decided to leave our yellow house, so I wanted to make it up to you. Open it. I've dedicated the book to you. Anyways, I've been journaling through my journey through the streets and mountainsides. I've even seen a mountaintop view. I decided to collect my entries and write a novel. I dedicated the book to you. I want you to see what I went through. I want you to feel like you were there with me. Because, truth be told, I wanted you there. You dedicated it to Zeal, too. And who's this boy? She asked, pointing to the last page. That's a dream catalyst I met. His name is Wonderlust. He showed me the mountaintops just as I thought the mountainside had finally defeated me. Just as I thought I couldn't climb anymore. Oh, he sounds nice. What's a dream catalyst? She asked. Okay, so, I had a dream once. In it, I spoke to an angel. She told me that we each have the ability to pursue our dreams. We all have the qualities within us needed to pursue our dreams, but there is a group of people out there called shrinkers. The entirety of their existence is to prove to us that we don't have those qualities within us after all. The shrinkers want to hold us hostage on the mountainsides, though, every once in a while, you meet someone called a dream catalyst, and they help you realize you had the make of your dreams inside you all along. They just help to speed up the process. However, the shrinkers should also be credited for your success, just as the dream catalysts are. This is because one day, each person will overcome enough shrinkers in their life to realize that they were their own dream catalyst all along. Shrinkers can teach you how to be your own dream catalyst, and that's what I am now. V, this sounds like a beautiful book, my mother said. I knew you would make it. I'm happy for you. Well, that's because you're a dream catalyst too. And when it would have been easier for you to force me to stay, you let me explore the universe. Because of you, I am dream catalyst. I am today. I smiled and embraced her. Anyways, how's Zeal doing? And where's Aimless? Well, Zeal's in school, and you know how hard she works. She was admitted to one of the top schools for math and business in the country. She's getting her life together. And is she still writing poetry? Yes, she is. She writes every night in that notebook you got her. Sometimes she shares them, sometimes she doesn't. But yes, she's been reading and writing poems and taking photos. Remember how she used to do that as a kid? She's getting back into it again. She's been keeping herself busy. But I've noticed she's started to relax a lot more now that she's been accepted. I think she knows how to turn off work now. I'm so glad to hear, I smiled. Maybe I can visit her when she's all settled into her new school. I'm not sure she would really like that. I'm sure she would really like that, she smiled. Oh, how's Aimless? You forgot to mention how he's doing. Actually, V, Aimless is getting older now. He's lost his vision. Aimless is blind? I exclaimed in disbelief. Yes, but V, don't panic. He's doing well. We talked to the vet. It's natural for dogs his age to lose their sight. But you know that dogs rely heavily on the sense of smell and heat in their hearing. He's still happy and full of life. It took him some time to adjust, but it's not as large an adjustment for when a dog loses their vision as it is for a human. I smiled to myself. Something told me Aimless was doing just fine. Nothing and no one could stop that dog from enjoying life and roaming free. In fact, I felt he may have liked wandering best without seeing where he was going anyways. My mom invited me in for coffee. Zeal was away sleeping over with friends for the night, and my dad was working late. He got promoted at work. That kept him busy. But he was doing something he enjoyed, so I don't think it bothered him much. I talked with my mom for a few hours. We caught up with each other, but I mostly listened to what I had missed. I knew she would catch me up. I knew she would catch up with me best by reading my story, which she said she was going to do over the next week. I made plans to visit again in a few months, so I could tell her about my experience in New York. I told her I would fly her up to see my apartment once my career took off. After the sun set, I turned my gaze toward the window. I'm going to go to the ravine now, I said. Care to join? I want to go stargazing tonight. No, thank you, but please enjoy the stars. So I went out to the bridge that overlooked the sky, and I saw countless stars twinkling back at me. I saw the moon, too. Tonight, it was full. I was grateful to say that the sky was transparent tonight. I could see right through the clear air, and looked out into the starry night. Back to the narrator's perspective, Angel. Though one thing never did change about V, as good as she got at maneuvering her future to the present, no matter how experienced or wise she became, a visionary will always be a visionary. V will always look up to the starry nights on bridges overlooking ravines. You could never stop a visionary from stargazing. The end. For now. But there isn't going to be a sequel, so I guess for you, it is the end. That's literally what I said. So, now, there's a note now, we've finished the last chapter, but now we're going on to the epilogue, so I'm going to read the disclaimer first. Epilogue. Disclaimer from the author. This epilogue is optional. If you can do without it, then close the book. But if you have to have the answers, if you have to look into the future, read on. I can't blame you. I would too. So, this is the part you have the option to either look into the future or not to. So, the reason that I did this was because some people believe that the future is for the future, and you shouldn't spoil that. Like, it all comes down, if you want this to be more authentic to real life, then don't read it, because you don't know about the future in real life. Like, right now, I don't know my future, so is it fair that I get to, like, get a little bit of a peek into the future from random narrators and random books that are really, like, not necessarily part of my real life, not realistic to what happens in the real world? So, that's why the epilogue is optional. But V would read, just so you know, because she's a visionary, right? Visionaries are constantly striving for the future. So if V had the option to look into the future, she would take it. But someone like Wonderlust, wouldn't unless he was challenged. Like, Wonderlust wouldn't normally look into the future unless someone's like, don't look into the future. Then he would. But it's more because he likes the idea of going into things, like, with a sense of wonder. So he wants to appreciate the future as it comes. But if he was challenged and someone says, you can't read this chapter, then he would read it because he's a little rebellious. Realist would 100% not read the epilogue because it's, because he doesn't believe that that's something that you should do. It's part of the future, right? but V would read it. So, figured I should let you know about that. So, you have the option to either click off now or not, but before you do click off, on the very last page, I have other publications that are going to be launched. So my goal, I have a fairy tale collection for adults coming out. I'm launching that hopefully September 1st. I'm going to make sure I meet that deadline, but that's the plan, September 1st. It's for adults who like fairy tales, and it's basically a collection of progressive political fairy tales designed for adults so that we can get a moral check. So that's coming out September 1st. I also intend to come out with a sonnet book collection that's going to be dedicated to the person I based Wanderlust off of. And that's going to be a good Valentine's Day launch, but that's I'm probably gonna launch it December 1st before the holidays, and then yeah, that's the plan. Anyway, if you liked me and you liked the story and you want to keep learning about that, follow my Instagram, because that's where I'm gonna post. When I launch something, I'm gonna post it on there. So that's where if you want to hear future stories about me, subscribe to the YouTube channel, because that's where I post my acting stuff. But if you actually like the legit stories, then subscribe to follow me on Instagram, because that's where you're gonna get updates. So, without further ado, if you choose to listen to the epilogue, here it is. So the epilogue's written in Angel's perspective, the narrator. If you don't want to hear it, click off. If you do want to hear it, keep watching. Oh, dear reader, I wasn't going to abandon you just yet. Thee may never get the chance to learn of the future of her friends, but that doesn't mean you don't get to. Not all of life's questions go unanswered. Now, dear reader, I do hate goodbyes, but I am also extremely sentimental, so I'm at a loss narrating this epilogue. So let's make this quick. I'll try to not to get emotional, but no promises. We'll say goodbye to each character one by one. So long! Goodbye. You are loved and will be greatly missed by your sweet narrator. For the questions that do go answered. Zeal became a multimillionaire. That was not a surprise. She had the drive, dedication, and heart of a millionaire. Her 4.0 average and her ambition made her clearly competitive to the job market, but she was above that. Zeal started her own company and became a multi-millionaire. Though she didn't care much about money and she donated most of it, despite the rocky days and the hard deadlines, Zeal never forgot herself, and she never lost her zest for life. Realist became an architect and lived a fairly complacent yet sturdy life. He married a woman who taught at the local school, and they had 3 kids together. Realist taught them how to play soccer. He didn't let them watch TV or waste a sunny day. V's dad got promoted at work. He works at a position he finds fruitful, and it brings him a lot of joy. The winds subside at the yellow house because of his newfound confidence. V's mom reads Dream Catalyst and was inspired by her daughter's story. She ended up opening her own interior design company. It started off for local customers, but the company expanded. She ended up getting her own interior design television show where she designs dream houses for the dreamers. Caprice didn't have a daughter. She had a son, and she named him H. She wanted to name him after his father, but after meeting V, she grew attached to the idea of H searching for his name someday, just as V did. H got good use out of the sky fort as a child. In his teens, he would sneak up with his boyfriend and they would stargaze together. This was before he was out. They would paint the starry sky just as Caprice wanted. The fairy shop never thrived financially, but it did get to a point where it could support itself and Caprice's family consistently. Caprice learned how to be selfish. She dated several suitors and left them when they started making her unhappy. She finally settled on a peddler who took her on his journeys. They traveled the world together. Sunny signed on with the same agent as V, and she became a success on her own. When Sunny made it big, she donated a large sum of money to the bookshop, a store under Yippie's name. Mitty and Cherry lived in comfort for the rest of their days in the artistic alcove. No matter how busy the 3 would get, they always made time to read together on Sundays in the shop. Thanks to Sunny's generous donation, V was also well fed. The barista and Elfin went on a trip together after Elfin came to her senses and broke it off with Heathen. They traveled to Europe to climb Mount Atiti. It wasn't exactly a mountain, it was a volcano, but they did see the overdue view. Elfin went back to school as she planned, and the barista decided to do set design for local theater productions. Not exactly Broadway, but she was just as happy with the local theater companies as she would have been in New York City. He then stayed on the mountainside, and he lived a comfortable life. He played Scrabble recreationally at the board game cafe. Though he and Caprice would never rekindle what they had, he was one day able to meet his son. He then meets with H 4 times a year. He taught him how to play Scrabble. Art faced adversity early on in life. In fact, life pushed him to the breaking point, and yet he didn't break. This made him unstoppable. He became one of the top animators in the country. He designed cartoons for kids. He did love kids after all. He and Larry got along quite well. They enjoyed solitude together, and eventually each took large strides in opening up to others. By opening up to each other, they trained themselves to open up to others. V knew the two needed each other. Wonderlust and V visited each other quite frequently. He never lost his spark for life and his eye for wonder. He traveled the world, studied hard, and became a successful politician. Though he never did stop performing, V featured him on a number of her hit tracks. He became a celebrity in his own right, but he never wanted the fame, nor the prestige. He wanted to make music, and he wanted to help people. So, he did both. V and Wonderlust made things work long distance for a while, but eventually, V got a second place in LA, partially for work, but also because she wanted to be near Wonderlust. Eventually, the two lived together there. So now, for V. Well, dear reader, while not all of life's questions go unanswered, some of them do. So V was successful in more than one regard. But quite honestly, her life is none of your business, nosy reader. No. See, not even V knows what her life has in store for her. She can only reflect back onto the past and look forward to the future, as a visionary does. All V knows is that she certainly got a lot better at making her future the present. There we are. The end. So, you've officially listened to the entire novel if you got it to this book. So, thank you so much for staying with me throughout this entire journey. If you want to purchase the book for yourself, it's on there below, Amazon.com. If you would refer this book to a friend, maybe send them that link. But yeah, regardless of what you choose to do, thanks for sticking around and listening to my audiobook. Thanks for, listening to the story. I hope you liked it. It'd be cool if you left a review down below or even on the Amazon page, so that I could get your honest feedback, because I want to keep publishing stuff, right? So I would like to hear your feedback so that I can know how to improve for next time or what parts of this worked. So yeah, thank you so much. I'm so happy. This is my first thing that I've ever self-published. I have like 2 other pending projects coming out. One is nearly complete, but there's still some things that need to be added on, so that should get done for September 1st. The other one, hopefully, my pending launch date is December 1st. Sorry. For adults who like fairy tales, is September 1st. For the Sonnet book collection, the Sonnet anthology, that's December 1st. So, regardless, stay tuned. If you want a how-to self-publish video, let me know. Yeah. I might have already posted at this point because I'm releasing once a week, and that's something I planned on doing earlier, so should have said this earlier. I filmed these in 2 days, so thank you so much for listening. If you want to buy your own copy, please do. Please refer this to a friend. Please connect with me down below. Yeah, it means a lot to me. Thanks, guys. Bye.